Awesome. I always like those beginnings. What do you think, T? It's
Oh man, this is the greatest, man. I love that intro,
Yeah,
man.
I love those, man. I hope everybody's having a great day. Welcome. You guys have got when you shake a tree and you got all that fruit that comes down, you're really going to get it today because we have the president of VACI, Terrell Morrell, big Navy vet. Yes,
No
that's
Navy.
to say that. Yes. And one of my mentors, and I'm so happy that we get to actually do this together. This is going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna be epic, bro. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. We'll get started in just a minute. Drop where you served at and your years of service in the chat.
Oh
Happy
yeah.
Wednesday.
Now we never say that, but it is a competition. We got to have more Army guys and Navy guys.
I see you, Gil Air Force 88 to 2010. Thank you for your service. Hey Don Core. Thank you for your service. My man Michael, U.S. Navy 22 and a half for your thank you.
Southern Cal. Dog.
I see airborne JT.
Airborne.
88 to 91, airborne. Yeah.
Hoorah. Yeah, he's got that look. Look at that picture. All of us look the same way. They actually took us out from the airborne school. We all had to learn how to pose.
Right. That's funny.
That same type of look.
Welcome, everyone. John, Henry, David, Lydia, Wayne, welcome.
Wow. Fast Eddie Chaparro. That guy is awesome, man. He is a true, just honest guy when you meet him.
For sure, man. I love that guy, man. Good stuff. Brad, I see you. Thank you for your service. Donald, I see you. Thank you for your service.
Hoorah.
William Speed, United States Army. Thank you for your service. Ray, Freddie, Robert, thank you. Tim, U.S. Navy.
There we go. Alabama.
Retired Navy photographer.
Oh.
Paul, I think I met like 3 photographers my whole career.
That is awesome. It's funny when everybody puts up their call sign or whatever MLS they had, and I'm trying to remember back in my head, but I'm getting up there in the age, so I sometimes I don't remember what those are. So,
John, welcome. Freddie, welcome. Anthony, Jarvis, Robert, John.
it's all lost in the woods. That's a funny joke. I like that.
Well, cool stuff. Do you want to do intros first, JT, or you want me to go first?
Now, of course, you go first.
Welcome everybody. Like JT's introduced me, my name is Terrell Morrell. I am the president of VA CIaims Insider. I came to VA CIaims Insider back in 2017 as a client, like a lot of you. I was lost, frustrated, angry, upset with the entire process. I needed help, right? And I found this wonderful gentleman on Instagram by the name of Brian Reese. And he helped me connect all the dots. It was a really interesting process. I was able to learn a lot. This was the spring of 2017, and by the summer of 2018, Brian Reese asked if some people wanted to help serve veterans, and I said absolutely, because the help I received. I'm 100% permanent and total. When I came here, I had 0 rating at all. Um, and through my 14 years in the Navy, like I said, I served from 1998 to 2012. Had some things happen to me, my mental health, sleep apnea, sinusitis, migraines, gastroenteritis, right? Tinnitus, right? All the itises I had and needed help with. And, you know, I'm proud to say that VA Claims Insider helped me. So not only am I the president of VA Claims Insider, I was also a client, one of the very first members of the elite program, right? Um, Raised my hand, volunteered for that because I recognized that I needed help. And I've been serving veterans ever since, man. And it feels good to serve those who have served.
Awesome. That's awesome. And my story's pretty much real close to the same. Um, I came here, I was rated at 50%, kind of struggled and bounced onto that. I really
Mhm.
still didn't know what I was doing. But I came here, met some people, got a great coach who was not impressed that I was a psychologist, but got me to a point where I was able to drop my ego and was able to listen and become coachable. And I think that's one of the main things that happens here. If you become coachable, you're going to go through the program nice. Because I went through it, became 100% PNT. I got to run into people like Terrell and other people like Brian, and really started learning the craft of how this works and how this is the mindset that you got to have to get through this. So, and like I told Brian and Terrell many a times, and I'll be internally grateful to you guys because you guys showed me the proper manner of doing this and the proper manner of teaching this. So always going to be grateful for that. So
Man, it is a pleasure and an honor to serve with you every day, Doc. We've been thick as thieves for it's been 3 years, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
it's,
yeah, yeah. It's been 3 years, man, and I've got to watch you lead from the front, lead with empathy, lead with respect, lead with integrity. It's fantastic, man. Like I said, a lot of times I just get to kind of sit back and impart words of wisdom and watch y'all do your thing, man. And your team is absolutely phenomenal and serving veterans daily, man. So it's really good from my seat to be able to see all the people we're helping get what they rightfully, legally, and ethically and morally deserve, man.
oh
So
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
proud, man. Super proud.
awesome. And speaking of that, before we get into the disclaimer, let's go ahead and talk about Brian's got his book out. We want to go ahead and make sure that we promote that because I actually have a copy right here by my desk. Um, you deserve it. And it's one of those things where every once in a while I'll go in there and I'll check out something because we all live in different parts of the country. So there's different things that are that we have to check out just to make sure that we're up on what we're doing. So, and thank God he wrote this, and and he keeps doing updates to it, which is really cool. Uh,
Mhm.
you really find it's really awesome to find somebody that actually puts it out there and will actually be honest and straight up with you. I know there's been times where T, I have been
Mhm.
called Terrell T. T and Brian call me down and say, "Hey, look, dude, we got to do it a certain way. We can't be going off like some crazy airborne ranger that's just shooting up the whole house. You got to go a little strategically here, sir."
Yeah,
Um, but I wanted to go ahead and promote the book there. And if you want, I'll go ahead and nail out this so we can get to work here. So,
yeah,
uh,
absolutely.
our disclaimer: we are not accredited agents, VSOs, attorneys, or any other entity recognized by the Department of Veteran Affairs, the VA, and we are not affiliated with the VA in any way. VA Claims Insider is an education based coaching and consulting company for disabled veterans exploring eligibility for increased VA disability benefits and who wish to learn more about that process. And the reason, guys, I slowed that up is because it is very basic. We are a coaching consulting company. And we do have a lot of people that have a lot of experience here, and they can actually rattle off stuff off the top of their head. It amazes me that we still have people that can do that. But the cool part is if I don't know something, I know I can go to T. T will tell me, okay, this is the way it's supposed to go. And we have a number of guys that can actually do that. I appreciate the shout out for Doc on the Road there. That was awesome. I love doing that show. That was actually something that I remember talking to T about a long time ago, and it was just something that's really just taken off. And now T's actually throwing another challenge at me to let's expand Doc on the Road a little.
Bro, yeah, it's time to grow. Yeah,
a little nervous, but yeah, let's go ahead. Let's try it.
Bro, more veterans need our help, man, more than ever, man. Like I've been looking at some of the comments and a lot of questions about the PACT Act, and bro, you're doing a phenomenal job serving veterans wherever you meet them, right? I loved how you had your You Deserve It second edition right next to you. I got to be honest, man. I've had 6 in the past month. I have 0 today. I had a gentleman come by my house yesterday who needed, he was doing some work, and he asked me, what did I do? And I told him I proudly serve veterans every single day. He said, my dad needs some help. So I said, give me your dad's number, give him this book, and let's talk, right? So I officially have to get some more You Deserve It books, and I know the perfect person that I will be hitting up to get a few more copies of the You Deserve It book. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, you probably get
his initials may or may not be BR, right? Like, so
you probably get like a box of like a shipment every days from him. So that's awesome. Oh man, that is too cool.
Phenomenal piece of information, man, put out by our founder, Brian East. It breaks down the process, makes it very simple. State benefits. I actually used it personally for my son's education, right? Yeah, it's good. Telling you about that book, I don't know where I would be.
You know, it's kind of cool that you brought that up because I want to tell you, all these guys are very genuine. They're all vets that are really, truly trying to help, and they're trying to help each other. I know when T son was getting ready going off to college, it's like all of us are having a kid go off to college because we're all like, going, oh, this is too cool, man. This is awesome. Because it's part of that generational thing where he's getting to go to college and experience that, but to go ahead and build onto that. And that's all because of what T did when he was in the military. And what prouder moment could you have of having a buddy where that's happened to, or a mentor, or whatever you want to say, when that happens for their family, you're jumping up and down going like, this is awesome. This is so cool that we've seen another generation of people go through things, and another generation. When we talked to Jen McDonald, where we were talking to her son, she's got one son that was already a Marine, and another son that just became a Marine. Guys, that's a future hero. That's a future America's hero, and it's just kind of cool that we have that tight bond, and that's what this community is all about. And I think that's what T and Brian have always tried to instill in all of us is this is how we build this thing. Is got to be about the community, about really showing empathy and showing how we care, and let's just put our arms around each other and get everybody through this. So I always think that's so cool.
Absolutely.
Now, before we get going here, I see a lot of questions already starting to happen and stuff like that. I figured what T kind of wanted is just kind of an open forum type of thing. So,
correct.
Nothing off limits. Let's go ahead and jump on it and jump on questions and stuff like that. And maybe we can do some coaching, some advising and stuff like that.
Most definitely, man. Let's get it started.
Yeah, let's get it started because it seems like everybody's wanting to get going here. I'm seeing these things come through. All right. Let's see. John, Sim. Hopefully, I say this right. Simbaja or Simbanja. Need to talk to your VSO to have access to the system called. Now, that is one thing that I have learned here. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. It really depends on your VSOs. Now, again, nobody is saying anything bad about VSOs. VSOs work hard, they're just overworked and very little trained. And I think that's one of the big differences between them and us are we have a ton of training and we have a ton of different information that gives T all kinds of different numbers that can tell us, hey, look, this is where the trends are showing. This is where we need to concentrate on. So if you're working with a VSO, great. Um, but we definitely, I think we just had that come through there. Go ahead and make a phone call to VA Claims Insider. Let's see if we can provide you just a little bit different thing there. There we go, free discovery call, and provide you just something slightly different than that. So, and you'll recognize there's a difference there. It's not just throwing up paperwork or just throwing claims against the wall. It's going to be somebody that's actually going to dig into it with you and look for the best avenues to get you to the spot that you need to be at. So, like I always tell everybody, it's like putting a puzzle together. You got to put those pieces in the right way, and they've got to fit. If not, then you're doing a lot of backtracking. So, all right, let's see. David White, do you provide Nexus letters? David, no, we do not. We're just a coaching counseling firm. However, we do have a preferred provider network that we've built a relationship with that can do that. They're called Telemedica. Again, get with your coach. If you don't have a coach, get with the program, join VACI, and you'll see there's ways to do that. There's ways to do that with them and lots of other ways to do that. So there we go. There's telemedica.com. But you need to be with a coach.
Absolutely. If
Because
anybody is hearing our voice and
right.
you are not a part of the elite membership program, you need to sign up today. Get started. We have coaches standing by ready to serve you who will help you connect all the dots and make sure that you understand exactly what is possible. VAClaimsinsider.com. Book a free discovery call. We'll walk you directly to the program. You'll hear from your coach in less than 15 minutes and be ready to get started. Please, 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 if you are just like myself and Dr. JT here who needed help, the elite program is the program for you. You're not talking to paid advertisers. You're talking to two actual clients of that process who were able to navigate the VA claims process through the VACI Elite program.
That's absolutely true, and it's right on target. And matter of fact, there's a lot of us where we say the same thing. So I saw one here, T. Robert Walker. Why would the VA want me to resend stressor form 210781A when I've already sent in a 210781 for my initial PTSD claim? Now, there's one reason why they want to. It's because those are two different forms. The 0781 is for your generalized PTSD claims, where you talk about a stressor event. The A is something that's more of a personal attack type thing. So what they're trying to do is probably gather that information and look for something that actually will tie that in there. So that's why they would do that. The VA can actually change that a little bit, and let's say you do a CMP, that can actually get changed a little bit there by that provider because they pick up on something and want to investigate it just a little bit further. So it's a good thing, Robert. It's not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing. That means that the VA is doing what they're supposed to do and narrow it down. So.
And they're trying to connect the dots on their end as well, Robert. Make sure you get them whatever they need, whatever they ask for as soon as possible. So you can get in that line to get your claim adjudicated as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Great call, JT.
Let's see. I like this. Raging Bullwinkle. Now that is a name. Now, Raging Bullwinkle is asking if we can drop our fee. Um, we have a little bit of time. Just dropping fees or dropping what things are like. The best way to find this out is you can actually call for that information, that discovery call. You're going to
Mhm.
find out a little bit there. And also, when you join, you're going to find out a little bit more because it's all over the place. There's no way I can actually just say, hey, it's going to cost you $5. There's just no way to do that because we don't know that till we actually take a look at what you've got because it might not be anything. So, um, and I can tell you if it's in line with what attorneys charge. No, it is not. If you've done anything with the courts or anything
Mhm.
like that, you know how attorneys get paid. It's called
Mhm.
billable hours. So if it's
Mhm.
billable hours, they're going to stretch it out as long as they can possibly, right? And what T has taught us is let's do this as fast as possible and be as consistent as possible on this. So
Right.
I can tell you it's nowhere near what an attorney will be simply because they do it just slightly different. So and if I'm not mistaken, T, that's all back pay too that they
Absolutely.
do,
Yep. Because
right?
that's the structure. The wonderful thing about the elite program and process is that you don't owe us anything unless you actually win your claim, right? There's zero cost to the process to you, and you only pay VA Claims Insider a fee if you win your claim.
And there's also discounts and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of different things that would play into that. So it's hard to actually answer that question because there's just so many different things that would play into
Right.
it. But I can tell you, it will definitely be different than an attorney doing billable hours. Um,
100%. Yeah. I
let's
see
see.
Jared got a question, man. I got hypertension, gastrointestinal tumor, abdominal scar from the removal of the tumor, all service connected, yes, and got a 0% rating on all three. Since my cancer's been cut out and after 3 years of chemo, remission, no rating, also wanted to submit a PACT Act claim. Great question, Jared. Um, for those three things, I'll start with hypertension. It can be rated at 0 based on the chronicity of your hypertension, right? So the 38 CFR literally directs and dictates what rating percentage is applied to the conditions based on chronicity. Same thing with the tumor itself. Cancer is one of those things that you get a rating based on the fact that if the cancer is still active and not no longer there. And your scar is based on the size of that particular scar, and it's actually in centimeters/inches of how you'll get rated for those conditions and the percentages attached to them. Let me stop. Congratulations on you not having cancer any longer,
Yeah.
right? Like that is the blessing. You are here with us today. You are not. You're in remission. Thank you for that. But also, I'd have to look up the specific 27 conditions under the PACT Act and see if those are there, and if you can get any type of compensation based on that. JT, got anything?
Yeah, it's important that what you just said there. With the PACT Act, everybody thinks that you could just go ahead and say PACT Act, and then that's a claim. That's not a claim. There's things that follow under the PACT Act, and that's what you have to concentrate on. Is the conditions that follow under it. So it's just like any other type of claim. You've got to have a diagnosis, and you've got to have treatment records and stuff like that. That where it shows that this could be related to any time in service or anything like that. So it has to be a condition. It can't be just the PACT Act. So just remember that and take that going forward because you have to have that condition that can tie into that. That's actually how that works. It's just a play on words, basically. But you're right. Congratulations that you're not. Um, or that you are in remission right now. That's awesome. Love to always hear that. But there's a lot of cool things here too, T. On when you say rated at 0, there's only one way up. So
Right.
you never know. You put those puzzle pieces together, and those could actually go. And if I'm not mistaken, that was our airborne guy that we were just talking about.
It was. Yes, sir.
I can't. It's the look. It's the look we have. Mine's left a long time ago, but yeah.
Got another one from Michael Harrison. He said, I retire in 20 days and haven't started my claim. He let work get the best of him, right? What's the best move to put a claim in before your retirement? Michael, that time has passed. Do not. I would wait until I retire, but don't wait too long. You have about a year's time frame where things are presumed to have happened in service. And what I want you to do is take your butt to the doctor. Get everything documented. I'm going to say it one more time. Get everything documented that you may be suffering from. Have all those things ready. And then the day you retire, file your VA claim. So you can start preparing it, but do not submit it today.
Yeah, that's great advice. Yeah, and get it ready. Get it ready, and it'll be so much easier for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially some of us that decided to wait 20 years and then go ahead and start jumping on things.
I waited 7. Such a long road.
You just had to point that out, didn't you?
It's so bad.
Awesome. Cassie Allen's in here. Cassie Allen is one of our extremely talented coaches, and it's always good to see that they're in here hanging out too. So Cassie Allen she's awesome. She is an awesome coach, an awesome person. Not just because she said something nice about us, but
right. Stephen McCoy, I finished my CMP exam this morning. How long does it take to get an answer? Brother Stephen. Look, here's the truth bomb. I got a truth bomb for you. I don't know. We don't know. There's different steps and stages that this goes to, right? So your CMP exam was completed. The medical professional that you saw has to submit some digital documentation to the VA. It goes into a queue. It goes to a particular rater, and depending on their caseload is how that gets processed. And then beyond that point, it has to go to a second level adjudicator, depending on the rater it goes to. This isn't a line, right? In the lineal sense, you don't go. If I submitted a claim today and JT submitted a claim tomorrow, there's no guarantee because I submitted mine 24 hours prior to him that I'll get my answer before him, right? The fastest we've seen a claim take has been about 5 hours from submission to completion. And then the longest I've seen personally has been about 2.5 years. So it's just not as simple as how long or how soon it would take. I'm going to tell you, don't drive yourself crazy. I say that as a person who drove himself crazy, right? A part of my daily routine was checking e-benefits, right? It's va.gov now, but we'll date myself a little bit in this VA process. It was e-benefits, and I checked it every day. But the day I got to 100% permanent total, I don't think I've logged in since personally since that day. Because it just kind of goes away, man. So stay in the fight. Be talk, right? If you're a part of our elite program, Stephen, come to Coffee with the Coaches, come to all the classes, share your stories, and we can absolutely help you cope and maintain. Got something really special coming down the pipe for those who have submitted claims, and you will not want to miss this. So stay engaged. Got about 2 weeks, and then we're going to have something really cool happening. From somebody really cool that y'all going to love and want to speak with. That was a little Wednesday gym on this fine September afternoon. It's coming. It's gonna be exciting. I can't wait.
Right. I
I
like
can't
that
wait.
you throw out just that little bit, and it's
Yeah,
like,
just a little bit, just a little sprinkle, right? Reel them in, yeah.
but that's what we do for our brothers and sisters in the uniform. That's what we got to do,
Mhm.
and to make sure that there's a lot of information out there, a lot of trends that happen with the VA. I saw a question earlier about sleep apnea. That is a
Mhm.
tough one right now. However, there are easy ways to get around that if you have that as a secondary coming in. So,
Correct.
um, but there's a lot of different things um, that you can definitely look at, and different ways of doing it, different strategies. Matter of fact, that's one of our main things. We use a program called SIM. It's strategy, education, and medical evidence. And when you
Evidence.
combine those three together in the proper manner, and make sure that you're doing exactly what you're supposed to do, and becoming a teachable soldier here, things do become a lot easier to get through. So, and what I like too, because my coach came through probably about the time you started, somewhere
Mhm.
probably right after that, Terrell,
Mhm.
is you guys were taught, hey, there is no quit. There's none of that. There's always going to be an answer to everything as long as we keep fighting and keep moving forward. Um,
100%.
and that's one thing I definitely learned from watching you and Brian and everybody else too.
Quitting is out of the question,
Yeah,
right? This is only over when you give up. And
right,
we don't have any give up in this here at all. It's never over unless you quit.
right. Definitely. Oh, there's Rachel Seabury.
Hey, Seabury.
Yeah, top of the morning to you, Seabury.
That's funny.
Yeah. Oh, Chuck Daniels.
Uh,
Awesome. Chuck is another one. Man, you got some awesome coaches sitting in here. I wish I could say they're all on my team, but they're not. Let's see. Let's see. Um, man, what I keep looking into here and I keep getting last names. There's no way I can pronounce that. Ray, Rey, and his last name starts with Q.
Mhm.
You wanna try that one, T?
I I can't even see it.
Let's see. I received 10% for my right knee, but full knee replacement in 2018 with a 4-inch scar. Am I eligible for a higher rating? Now, generally, I would actually say you're always eligible for a higher rating as long as you're showing the symptoms and you're showing, say, especially with something like that, lost range of motion, all that kind of stuff's going to come into play with that. So I would
Mhm.
always say yes. But knowing what you just said here about the full knee replacement, yeah, usually they, if the VA knew about that, they would actually put you in a different program that would actually take you way up with your rating and then reevaluate you. And usually it comes out, I would say, a little bit higher than 10%. So I would say definitely get with a coach, make sure that you've got that planned out exactly the right way and worded the right way and all the medical evidence together so it all reads real simply for the rater at the VA so they can go ahead and help you out with that. So I would say definitely yes, but you got to make sure that you've got all that other stuff and get ready for another CNP. So let's see. Oh, waited 45 years, Mr. Raging Bullwinkle again. Ouch. Well, the cool part is you're here now, and that's the most important part. It's sort of like people asking, can this be raised up? Can this be a higher rating? Or I have zeros, 3 zeros right in a row. The cool part is that you're here and getting the servers connected. might be a little bit tougher, but it's not out of the question and can happen. We just have to make sure one, we have that medical evidence together, and we get you to a point where we're coaching you in a situation to where it all does come together. So don't think that because you waited 45 years doesn't mean anything. I've heard worse, to be honest with you, a lot worse. So the thing to remember is being coachable, getting in, getting in with the program, becoming educated, becoming coachable, and just really diving in, and it's going to play out for you. So.
Yep, I see one that says if you're diagnosed with erectile dysfunction, what rate percentage on that? Great question. ED is normally rated at 0%, but what it does trigger is an SMC, SMCK to be more specific, which means loss of creative organ. And that triggers a special monthly compensation. I believe, what's the amount for SMCK right now?
I think it's like is it 128, something like that?
Somewhere in that range. I
Yeah.
have to look it up specifically. Yeah. A lot of times attributed to some of those mental health medications you're taking, some of those gastrointestinal issues that you take, but it's normally based, like I said, based in 0%. You can receive a higher percentage for that if you have some type of deformity in your genital area.
That actually brings up a good point too, because that could be also what's banging around in your head.
Mm-hmm.
We're all veterans. We've all seen stuff, and we've all trained in certain manners to where things are going to bang around in your head no matter what.
Correct.
The cool part of it is when you start IDing that stuff, it could be as simple as that's why you're going through this or why you're suffering from that. So that is definitely one area you definitely want to go ahead and take a look at, because just being a veteran, you've got stuff that's banging around in your head all the time. There's always the threat of something happening that will
Mm-hmm.
create negativity. There's always the actual event taking place in front of you, or the event that maybe something you've heard, and then you start worrying about it. All of a sudden, you're creating those negativities up here that can create all kinds of issues down the road.
Yeah.
So,
I see a great question from Curtis. He says, "How can so many get PTSD and never went to war, and U.S. soldiers that went keep getting denied?"
yeah,
Yep. So, Curtis, PTSD, post traumatic stress disorder, is based on an event that happened to you. I'll speak to you from my naval seat. In the United States Navy, we sail the seven seas, which is not, what I'm saying, sometimes classified as being a warrior. But there was things that happened to me in service. Things that I probably won't talk about in this live. If you're an elite member, come to one of the live events inside the elite program, and I'll share that specific story. But there was a plane that went down on my first deployment. Right, I was on board USS George Washington on September 11th, 2001. Things happen to people that don't necessarily equate to war. So it's not just PTSD. It's any type of post-traumatic stress that you may have had in service. And there's a litany of so many different situations that happen, right? Military sexual trauma falls under PTSD. Any event where you felt or feared for your life can be considered PTSD, right? We've had people who were abused in boot camp, or traumatic, or they didn't even get a chance to get there. But horror stories all around from that standpoint. So thanks for your question, man. If you've been through something, if you tell your story, tell your truth, be uncomfortably vulnerable. I struggled telling my story for so long, until I found Brian Reese. And that was like one of the first 10 words he said to me, right? Be uncomfortably vulnerable telling your story. And I got to a medical professional and our preferred provider network. And it was a game changer for me because I was able to be comfortable and share my story that helped me ultimately get my PTSD rating. I'm currently rated 70% for post-traumatic stress disorder based on the event that happened to me that didn't show up in the newspaper or wasn't written on a sit rep or an article, but that did not change the fact that it happened to me, right? And I still had to deal with it and live with those things. To the denial piece, Curtis, what that means is that verifying those stressor events and having people in your corner and writing down your story, right? You can't just say, well, I went to this place. Well, were you actually in fear of your life? Did you actually think that it was going to all be over? And I'll tell you that if you are sharing that story and documenting your particular situation, that you'll go really far in your claims process. And if it was denied, you got to keep fighting, right? Keep going back. We don't quit. Just keep going back. I would encourage everybody to do that.
Yeah, no, that's right, T. The way I look at it is get a coach. Get somebody that's going to be on your side that's actually going to help you get through this. It makes it a lot easier. Two, you learn to make those particular steps that you need to make to learn coping skills and stuff like that. But the thing is that you're moving forward. Get with somebody that's going to be in your corner that's actually going to say, you know what, we're going to go for this, and we're going to fight, we're going to fight, we're going to fight. Definitely make sure that you get with somebody that's going to do that. There might be a simple answer to it. To be honest with you, there could be something simple that the VA is just missing, and they just need someone to fly it a little bit different at them. So it could be something as simple as that.
Absolutely. Got a great one here, JT. Crystal, if hubby has 13 claims, what's the best way to organize all the relevant medical records? Combine to make a PDF per claim, or what would you recommend? Yeah.
13 claims. Well, let's say if you came to me and you said all that, probably the best thing that I would actually say, hey, let's go ahead and make a strategy. Part of that SIM method that I talked about. Let's build a strategy. Let's take out what we need, make sure that we got the right evidence that's matching up to it, and rock and roll towards the finish line that way. And then we can pick off one or two later on. But you don't want to go all 13 at the one time because it makes it a little bit difficult for the VA if you do that. Sorry.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I got you, JT. And Crystal, like I know JT was getting ready to start speaking about secondaries because that's how we roll. Some of those conditions that your hubby may be afflicted with may be a part of another condition. You don't want to fire off all 13 because I'll give you a scenario. If I have a hip issue that's connected to a knee issue, and I know that the hip issue was caused by the knee issue, but I'm not currently rated for my knee, and they see me first for my hip, it won't be service connected because you have to connect the dots in the manner that you get one condition rated and then you attach a secondary to that one. So I would encourage your husband to come into the elite program, get with a coach, get a solid strategy going, and walk it that way. But great question.
Oh yeah, definitely. And the secondaries are actually, in my opinion, a lot easier to get service connected because you're actually attaching it to something that's already service connected. So you've already made the argument. Now you just have to go ahead and make the argument of how this is affecting this part. So yeah, definitely. All right. Man, we've got so many questions here. I wish we could get to every one of these guys, but I tell you what, you get with our program, get in that program, get educated, and start really learning some of this stuff. What's going to happen is you're actually going to be able to put this together also with your coach. And you're going to have somebody that's going to, like I said earlier, stand by you, and it's going to say, hey, look, we're going to punch through this wall. both of us.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, every branch. Now we make jokes about the Navy, the Army, Air Force,
All the time.
and Space Force, even. But the thing is when it comes to this type of thing, when veterans come together, brothers and sisters of the uniform, we come together. We're going to put our arms around each other. We're going to go ahead and get ourselves through this by helping each other. It's sort of like I remember telling T. We joke around all the time about Navy and Army, but what we won't do is let somebody from an outside situation say something about the Navy, because I will jump on them in a heartbeat.
Absolutely.
It's like the big brother, little brother thing. So.
Yeah. JT and I were on the phone the entire time for the Army Navy football game last year, and we just couldn't believe it. Like, holy crap, this is so good. And then we went back to hating each other immediately after. For the year. Yeah.
The whole year to build it up.
2022, the Dr. John Trimble was able to get bragging rights, right? So we let it roll, and then next time we'll get there.
But I still feel bad about that for that young man from the Navy Institute fumbling the ball like that. I feel for him. I was like, oh man, no, not that. Anything but that. If he got stopped fair and square, fine. But to get hit in a way to where the ball pops out, it's like, oh.
And that young man has to go to the fleet. And the football, because you got helmets on, they might not recognize your face, but you got some diehard fans out there who will recognize the name. And they're like, hey, sir. Right? Oh, fun times.
Oh, man. But that's the thing to go ahead and embrace. We are veterans, and we are veterans from a very well-organized military institution, just like they are. Just because you said you sailed the 7 seas, I couldn't imagine doing that. That would have drove me completely bonkers. And I'm sure with what I did, you'd be like, oh no, I don't.
I'm not jumping out of a perfectly good plane, JT. It's not gonna happen. I'm good. I trust you that it works, right? And I got airborne cousins, right? Shout out to my cousin Toby. Like, y'all, man, there's so many people that I genuinely love. They was actually talking about doing some jumps when we get to our company event, and I was like, no, I'll watch you. I have a drone, right? I'll take videos. Right?
We did that event in Vegas, and I jumped out that building. You were like, awesome. No, I'm good.
Cool story. That's already living dangerous. That's great. Crystal does have a follow-up question. I would say yes. She said, do you have to have a nexus from a doctor to connect a secondary condition or no? You absolutely do. The nexus is literally a term that means justification, right? If you look at it that way, you have to be able to connect those 2 points together. And that comes in the form of a nexus, right? Your own personal provider, using our preferred provider network, with that team over at Telemedica, who does a phenomenal job serving veterans every day. It's the reason for existing. So great question, Crystal.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't really get this, but the nexus is, I would say, probably one of the most important parts of making sure that somebody understands what you're going through. Because that nexus not only ties it into all the symptoms, but can also tie those symptoms into something that happened either back in service or about service. And it eliminates that series of doubt that some people can actually have. You guys have run into those type of people. You can tell them straight up, and I've got one leg shorter than the other one. Prove it. Well, that's what that nexus does. It proves it and actually points it back to where that probably happened, that kind of trauma. So,
absolutely.
And I know when I came through the system, I bought like 3 nexus letters to help me provide what I needed to get done. Because yeah, I have a PhD in psychology, but I don't know anything about the body. I don't know how muscles work. I don't know how any of that type of stuff works. And I needed an expert. So that's definitely the best way to go. Um, because I could actually tell them, yeah, my leg hurts, but
Yeah.
those raiders and those C&P practitioners, they hear that all day. They want to know, how does it hurt? What does it affect? And what is it going to affect later in life? Because face it, when we get older, things do get broken down a little bit. And if we helped it out because we had some kind of trauma that happened in the military, means that we're going to get there a lot faster than, say, the general public. So,
Yeah. What I would like to mention, because we're coming up on the top of the hour in about 8 minutes. Man, that went fast.
yeah,
If we get to your question, they will be answered post the live. Have no fear. Your questions will be answered. We have an amazing team on the back end that will jump in the chat, attach a blog post or article to specifically talk about your specific questions. I did see a question from one of the gentleman, John, said, how do you become a coach? We're always looking for great talent. We're always looking for people who want to help serve veterans. I would say stay affixed to the VA Claims Insider website. We do have a careers tab there. So be on the lookout for that. So many veterans to serve, right? We are just getting started. We say that all the time. We truly believe it. Very young company. We've been around since 2016. And we want to continue to serve veterans on every different aspect of life, right? Dr. John has the podcast. We have Lynn Hero for your home buying needs, Military Disability Made Easy, which breaks down the 38 CFR in the most layman's terms to help you with that. And we can get you connected through all of those avenues if you join VAC Claims Insider Elite.
Right. And, there's a question that always comes up when we do these things. They're only so long. And we've got hundreds of questions going by us. Like, guys, it's like a teletype. Ramvet 501 asked a question. Why are you guys cherry picking to answer questions? We're not cherry picking. I'm literally looking at this thing going by us like it's a ticker tape with questions. If you want a question answered, particularly for you, go ahead and get part of the program, and we're going to be able to help you out with that. Ramvet, I am sorry that it feels like that. I am truly sorry that it feels like that. I wish I could answer all of these right now, but we just can't, because we've got so many people joining in here. We've got so many people that are asking questions and watching this thing go by. I mean, like yours has already left the screen, and it was at the bottom here. And now it's already left the screen, and there's a bunch more here. So please take that, brother. It's not like that at all. We're not cherry picking. It's just kind of like we look over and we see a question and we hop on it real fast. I wish we could jump on that, but please don't take it like that. Or anybody else, please. And I always feel bad about that, T. It's sort of like when we get in these things and we stick, it's like when we start rolling and really get into it, that's when it's like, man, it's about to end. So, but
as you were speaking, man, I did want to scroll back up because I don't want Ramvet 504 to think that we're just ignoring anyone, because that's not who we are. And like I said, I'm a part of the Facebook group. Please reach out to me directly if you have any specific questions. JT also feels the same way. But he says he has service-connected tinnitus and bilateral sensor neural hearing loss at 10%. Recently experienced Meniere's disease, but the VA seems to refuse rating veterans. What would we recommend for me to do outside of a board appeal or an HLR? My first question that I'm going to ask you, and respectfully, like I said, we got about 4 minutes. I want you to ping me off to the side. I'm available. Did you have a Nexus to tie in your Meniere's to your tinnitus and your bilateral hearing loss? You got to create the connection, right? The VA is not going to assume anything for you, RAMVET 504. You have to be able to say your tinnitus and hearing loss was directly attributed to your Meniere's disease. If you don't have a medical professional to write that information for you, and there be a medical reason or rationale behind it, the VA would just deny it, right? Because they could easily say that your Meniere's disease is connected to something else. If you are a part of the program, please reach out to me. Again, myself and Dr. JT always make ourselves available to veterans. If not, ping me on the side on Facebook, and we can have a great conversation about it.
That's awesome, G. That's awesome. And also, RAMVET, there's a couple other things that might come into play to actually set that path for you. If you're suffering from vertigo, if you're suffering from migraine headaches and stuff like that, can set that path for it, because those are all kind of become symptoms of Meniere's. And the only reason I know that is because I actually suffer from Meniere's, and I know how the inner ear kind of can be affected by different pressures and stuff like that. So definitely, but again, it's a puzzle that has to have the pieces fit just right. And Meniere's is actually one of those ones that is like that. But man, Meniere's, holy cow, man, that's what, 30, 60, and 100. If I'm not mistaken, that is a big thing. So, so definitely get with somebody here so we can actually get you going on the path there. So, and hang in there, man. I'm sorry that we had that situation where you felt like you were being ignored. You're not being ignored at all. And hopefully now you understand how that works. So, guys, do not forget about the free discovery call. The free discovery call, and how things can actually change and get you to a point where things become a lot clearer and a lot easier for you to deal with. So I definitely look forward to seeing all of the guys that are in here. Matter of fact, I'd like to talk to RAMVET myself, just to go ahead and make sure that we got you going in the right way. Oh, I don't know if you see that one or not, Terrell. Morrell, Missouri MP1.
Mm-hmm. I'm not even going to address that this afternoon. Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, I'm going to totally ignore that one. Yeah.
Oh man! By the way, guys, I'm going to pay for that.
Erase it off the screen.
I'll be doing push-ups or something like that here in just a little bit. So, but we really enjoyed you guys coming in. We really enjoyed being able to answer these questions and get with you. Thank you, Tony. I appreciate that. Thank you for your service. And I, again, hanging out with one of my mentors, and everybody else had to sit back and do work. I couldn't think of anything better. So, matter of fact, I'm actually on vacation and actually did this because I was like, I'm going to do it with Terrell. Yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah, let's roll. And see, David came. There we go. Right, David's my hero now. Right, go Navy, beat Army.
Thank you, Michael Smith. Yeah. Is that our Michael Smith?
That is our Michael
Smith. It is, Dr. Mike.
Dr. Mike.
Yeah, I told him the other night that I was going to handle anything that was about plantar fasciitis. He didn't think it was funny. But thank you guys for coming. We look forward to meeting all of you guys when you come to the program, and definitely get with your coaches if you are a part of the program, and let's go ahead and get you what you deserve.
Everybody have a great day on purpose. Good to see everybody.
I love that line.
Yeah.